blessed with the presence of people who have devoted their lives to the beautiful game of football. As we know, this is a game loved by many across different parts of the world. We've got the president of Singida Fountain Gate, that is Mr. Bwana, Japhet Makau, together with the principal of the academy, that is Mr. Joseph Msafiri Mjingo, as well as another gentleman who loves the beautiful game of football and has been involved for years, and I can see that he was able to grow gray hair within a short period of time, because it's not a child's play occupying the hot seat as a coach, Mr. Themba Mr. Themba Sithole, rather, my apologies. Mr. Sithole, let's talk about your involvement in football. I've known you as a young boy, and I know precisely how you've been involved in football, but someone around the African continent still need to know your story. When did you get involved in football?
I joined Bloemfontein Celtics. I was around 18, 19 years. That was in 1996.
Yeah.
I stayed with Celtics up to 89. Then I moved to Stars in 1989. I stayed with Stars about 33 years before the passing of the old man. And then that's when now I lost interest and I decided to move, because there was also an appetite from this side with Sekhukhune United for me to come here, because when I stopped in my playing in 2003, one thing that I did very well was the scouting and development of amateur players. Those that don't know where Piwe Chabalala is coming from,
Good
you
knowledge.
know that he's one of those well-known players that I'm proud of, because I also contributed to where he is. He spent 3 years with us at the Free State Stars after I scouted him at Alex in some tournament, and he became a star that he is. You know, you have all these guys, Bomataba, Bomakola, you have got, I've got Daniel Cardozo now with me. Let's leave those ones, because those are already old. We have guys that are still in the game now, like Munna Pula Saleh. Many they just see Munna Pula Saleh now at Pirates, whereas Munna Pula Saleh came through Free State Stars, where we spent 3 years also working on him. You have the right back Nyiko Mobi with Bafana that is also coming through the same setup. Nobody gave Nyiko Mobi a chance when we scouted him, because I mean it was just in the dust streets of Limpopo, and we brought the boy. Look where he is now. So we are so proud also when we see these guys progressing. But then, because the channel here, we are talking about the East African, not just South Africa.
Yeah.
The first time I was in the Sekafa tournament in Namboli Stadium in Uganda, I came with Mrisho Nkasa, the Tanzanian. That I introduced him to South African football. We also had the Ghanaian, while he was still around the 18 years, Jonathan Mensah, also joining our ranks. So the Eastern Africa and the Central Africa and Western Africa, for me, is home, because that's where I brought a lot of players. So we keep knocking the doors. As we are speaking now, the last 2 weeks I was in Tanzania. I went up to Mwanza, I went to Dodoma and everywhere, you know, trying to search for talent. So this is what we do every day. When I came back from Tanzania, it was Friday, and I was already on my way to Durban. There was a tournament where I even brought 2 youngsters that are already in our books. So we do a lot, not just for our respective teams, but also for the countries that we scout, because we believe so much in developing our own talent in Africa before we go to South America and other countries. Because also last year, about 7 months ago, I did also the Brazil market. We had to go to Brazil and try and check whatever we don't have in Africa, can we import from that part of the world? So there's a lot of things that we are doing, even though we work behind the scenes and people don't know what we are doing. So, but there's just a lot. And now I'm just happy also that after 2.5 years, I'm with Sekhukhune, we're starting to reap the benefits of our development structures. We have got the boy that was a captain at the MDC, Tiwani, that is playing full-time now as our left back with the senior team. I was very happy yesterday when we played Pirates. One of the boys also got his debut game, Canel, also is in there. And we've got a lot of youngsters that will be joining the senior team into pre-season coming June. So this is good for football development, and is good also for the youngsters. So there's a lot of development still coming. I'm sure we'll be making announcements in due course, but I think we are on the right direction, both as a club and the country in the process is going to benefit as well.
You've been too long in the game. When you joined the Bloemfontein Celtic in 1986, I was only 6 years old. What did you do to Orlando Pirates yesterday?
Let's just divert a little bit besides the Orlando Pirates, because also for you to be where we are, I mean, playing football and coaching, they are two different departments. Because when I finished my career as a player, I also went a little bit with the SAFA. I did my level 1, 2, and 3. I mean, I didn't do the level 3, I did the CAF-B license. There was no space for level 3, and I spent 4 years up and down in London trying to qualify. So that is one of the aspects also where I will encourage our coaches all over the continent, because you hear names when you go to Africa, they call us with these big names because you played for the national team. But if you don't go into the boardroom as well to learn as a coach, sometimes it becomes a bit of a problem. So I'll encourage every soccer player or former player out there that has interest moving into coaching to make sure that you go and get your qualifications, because you can only improve. And football and coaching and playing, they are two different aspects. Now, coming back to yesterday, if you look at people always, they don't understand when I say Sekhukhune United is the fastest growing brand in the Premier League. I think now maybe some of the people, they know what I'm talking about, because it's 2.5 years, and if you look where we are now, we have never been in that position. Right. With 10 games to go, we are sitting third, and that shows that since we are ambitious, we can also fight and see if we can finish between maybe 45 and 50 points, which might give you a very good, respectable position in the league. So also playing the CAF last year, I think it's also gave our boys a little bit in terms of gaining that experience and be more solid, and also see that if you focus in football, I mean, football can do a lot of things for them.
Wow, lovely stuff. When you speak to a legend like this one, you need more than 180 minutes to complete the conversation. This is the man who's been with Kwakwa Stars when it was still called the Kwakwa Stars, later became Free State Stars. At one stage, it was even Fairway Stars. So he's been there for 33 years, and of course, we're still going to unfold on that story. 14:20 Central African time. We take a short break, and when we come back, the conversation continues. African football. Full game, and of course, having people who are contributing positively to this game. We've got people who have played this game from junior ranks to an elite level, and people who love nurturing this game. What a beautiful African story. Let's bring back to the conversation the principal of the academy, that is Singida Fountain Gate, Mr. Mjingo. Mr. Mjingo, let's talk about the role that you play to make certain that the plans, the vision, the mission, and the objectives of the Fountain, of Fountain Gate becomes a success.
The vision of Fountain Gate Schools is we want to be the fountain of knowledge, wisdom, and talent. Out of that, you can realize that there are 3 main pillars. 1, knowledge. The second one is wisdom, and the third one is talent development. Now, my main duty is to make sure that I integrate knowledge and talent development, but again, at the end of the day, make sure that these boys and girls are wise, in the two pillars. Like, what do I do to make sure like they are knowledgeable, like academically they grow well, but again with their talents development, that is also happening. Now you can tell that is, we have 8 different schools all over Tanzania, and we are still growing. Then you can tell that we have the primary school, pre and primary school, primary schools, secondary schools, and high school. And we don't know what the future holds. Maybe we shall go to tertiary education, at the university level and all that. So when I talk of that, we have boys and girls from the age of 2, and they are all talented.
Wow.
Then you have to make sure that they grow. You nurture such talents. Then out of that, that's when we have the kids soccer program, whereby when you come to that program, you can realize that there are boys and girls of 3 years, they learn football. And again, not just football, there is other talents that we also make sure that we nurture them. But again, out of that, we have come to a point whereby we are the only school or only schools in Tanzania whereby if there is any football competition, we are able to take the under 7 team, the under 9 team, under 13, under 15, under 17, and under 20. We have we have Wisdom Cup that is always being conducted by Fountain Gate. We always make sure that we have such a good number of teams. But again, we also normally participate in different competitions back in Arusha, in Tanzania, the Chipkis Cup, we take such, and again, all that is happening. My major role again is to make sure that the curriculum, the Tanzanian curriculum, is well taken care by the Fountain Gate. And currently, when you come to Tanzania, you'll realize that there's a changes in terms of curriculum. And the government has come up with a sports combination for the high schools, whereby boys and girls can now learn sports in class. And this is something that we Fountain Gate had started. And we are happy that now the government is supporting us by making sure that, now every school has to do that. So as Fountain Gate, we are happy because we are going to support the government since the government has also supported us. But again, apart from all that, is making sure that these boys, they grow. There's this person who is very much in love with football, but there's every possibility that cannot success in football, like in terms of playing in the football. But again, through that, this person can either do sports medicine. Some of them can do nutrition. Some of them can do law in sports and all other areas that you feel like are needed in sports. And that's a major need in Tanzania. So as a school is to bring solution, and we are seeing ourselves that we are doing that. As you can see, when you go, maybe we are the only school, or if there is any other, could be one or two in Tanzania, whereby they have a serious football girls team. Our team, you can tell, from the schools, we also have different programs. We have a program that we call to be GETS, that is Girls Empowerment Through Soccer. We do that. With the GETS program, there are school girls and there are school dropouts girls that are also benefiting from that. But we also have another program known as YETS, Youth Empowerment Through Soccer. This is basically for the boys. They're also benefiting through that. Those ones who are dropouts and those ones who are still in school are also in that. But again, as we are speaking, as I am speaking, I'm proud to even say that there are girls from our schools are currently in Europe for football.
Wow.
They are trained at Fountain Gate, and now they are schooling. One just obtained a scholarship of 60,000 a year.
6,000 pounds.
Pounds a year.
Yeah.
And currently is in the La Liga Academy. You can tell how powerful such story is. But again, when you consider the background of this girl, comes from a very needful kind of a family. Now you can tell, yes, through Fountain Gate, this girl is seeing her bright future. But again, there's a lot that we as Fountain Gate schools are doing, and we feel like maybe in the near future, as you said earlier, that maybe the nation now depends, the Taifa Stars will depend in Fountain Gate. Yes, when you go to the under 17 teams, when you go to the under 20 teams, under 15 teams, we have boys and girls who are there. So in the next 2 to 3 years, possibly in the senior team as well, we shall see our boys and girls featuring.
Wow, heartwarming African story from the president of Fountain Gate Academy. 8 different schools in Tanzania, well looked after by the principal, Mr. Mjingo. Mr. Sithole will attest to this. When you travel around the African continent, you realize just how a lot of people will say Africa is rich because of the resources, the minerals, and all of that. But the reality on the ground is showing pictures of poverty, where you would go to schools that do not have facilities to do anything. And we've got Fountain Gate that is blessed with these facilities, because if you are able to develop the way the principal has been explaining, it means you are also blessed with those facilities. How did you get this item of resources correct?
I want to tell you, it's true that Africa is very rich, and what we are supposed to do is to convert the resources into wealth. That's the challenge which we are having at the moment. We have a lot of resources, but has not been converted into wealth. And that's where we get challenges with all our resources in schools, etc., etc. Yeah, Fountain Gate has been started based on commitment and the vision. If I want to tell you, I had a dream of 15 years before actually the Fountain Gate started. I don't know if you got it clearly. The dream of having Fountain Gate was run for 15 years before actually we started opening the first branch of the school. So it was determination, commitment, the small resources we gathered, we put together. So I believe if you're committed, if you have a vision, you can be able to reach into where you want. We have not yet reached where we want to go. That's why we have come to learn and see how best we can be able to do more than that. With legends like Sithole here, we believe we'll get a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, so that we can be able to improve what we're doing. To add up what Principal said, at the moment, we have over 6,000 students in all our campuses. And all these are getting the knowledge we're giving. So in the near future, if you can be able to get out of 6,000 people, you get people who can be able to go higher level and help the country. That will be a big advantage, it's for the country. And as he said, we have already 4 players in our USA. They're getting a scholarship and studying in the USA. 2 are in Mali, are prepared to go to UK for the high level playing. These are under 15. Yeah, so I think it's the commitment. Resources, we want to have more resources than what we have at the moment. But yeah, I believe God will bring more. But resources are there, but turning into wealth, that's the biggest challenge we're having at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super exciting indeed. Fountain Gate FC, the elite level. How's it doing?
It's doing very well. I don't know if you're following up the Singida Fountain Gate. Last year we participated in the CAF Championship, CAF Confederation Cup, where we played against the Egyptian club. We won at home and lost away. So we finished number 4 last year, and the target for this year was to do better than that, because you want to go one step ahead at least. But at the moment we are not doing very well in terms of the table. We're standing at number 6, and we in a small window we lost a number of our players. Out of 6 players were taken by the other bigger clubs. It was good because we made money.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we made money.
In US dollars.
Yeah. So this money will help us to be able to grow more younger players. But we believe, yeah, we can be able to finish with top 6 at the end of the season. And next season we want to give more younger players an opportunity to play. Yeah.
Mr. Sithole, how long do you think it will take the African continent to professionalize the game at all levels? So that, I mean, Mr. Makau and Mr. Mjingo were talking about school dropouts. And I'm thinking sometimes they don't drop out because they want to. There's always challenges. But you find that they are superb football players. Now imagine a scenario where from different levels the game is professionalized so that football is looked at as a business, because Mr. Mjingo was talking about a child who's gotten a scholarship, and you can tell that they are from a village somewhere, and when they come back, not only are they going to look after their family, but they are also going to look after the village because of the resources they will be having. But how long will it take for Africa to take sport as a business?
I think Africa have taken sports as a business already. If you look at even though isolated incidents that are happening, but because if you look at it right now, majority of countries, I think they are going the right direction. In Tanzania, for instance, you can't sit on the bench unless you have got a certain qualification. Here at home now, we're going that direction as well, from the lower divisions. You know, from Motsepe League, even the DDC, you're not going to sit on that bench if you don't have any CAF qualifications. So I think already we are on the right direction. The one thing that we need to also work on in Africa, those that are involved in football, is to make sure that, because football development especially, the first thing that we need as coaches is just the facility. We need to make sure that we provide the proper facility for training. We need to make sure that we provide the equipment for training. So if the coaches are equipped with a certain level of education, and then it's easy for them to go out and produce good and quality youngsters. Because if you look at it, at the moment, bigger teams, those that have got the finances are the guys that are doing better than the rest of. So we need to just close up with that gap. But I'm happy with the way things are happening, especially from home here, because I also used to struggle. You go and scout the youngsters that they can't even control the ball. So you spend 1 year now just trying to teach him the basics, whereas we're supposed to now go deeper into tactics. So, but I think we are moving the right direction, because if we have qualified coaches and we have the facilities, I think a country should be able to produce good players. The only thing, last year when I visited Tanzania 5 times, I was doing a research, wanted to know exactly what is happening in this Tanzania. Why are the 3 teams dominating? Yeah. Only to find that whereas down here we say no, because of Bafana having more players, local players, and then in Tanzania you have got every team can sign up to 12 players. So those guys, if they are clever, that's why you find they tend like dominating, because yes, maybe in terms of producing youngsters for the national team, which is not the name of the business. Because football is business. You want to win, you're supposed to be. We're supposed to use an open policy where you sign whatever you can afford. And then let's do the development properly, because if we are going to use like here at home, I'm not happy with the way things are happening, because you find that we use the 3rd division, we use the 2nd division as a development leagues. That's why you find that when we go to the playoffs with the Premier League, it becomes a problem, because the gap between Glad Africa and the PSL is too wide. So maybe they need to look at that as well, because as soon as we can have the Glad Africa and the Motsepe League highly competitive, and then the senior league is going to benefit. I've visited academies around Ghana. I've been to Togo. There is Libert Academy in Togo that is producing a lot of players. I remember when I brought Dav Mwome into the country. Yeah. Dav Mwome never played in any league in Togo. He was just from the academy. He was produced by the academy, and then they used to go and play the under-20s and whatever. And then in that tournament, there was WAFO tournament, the last WAFO tournament in Nigeria, that I was there. And then I wanted to bring Atakora Lalawele, but Atakora Lalawele went to Belgium, and the last option was now for me to bring Womedov, which was still a midfielder that was ahead of our midfielder, because he came into the country and he did very well. So we just need to check how do we bridge the gaps, because sometimes putting under 23 rules in a serious league like the Glad Africa and the Motsepe League, it disadvantages those that have the ambition to qualify for the Premier